Well, hello, and welcome to Beyond the Sermon, a Bethany podcast where we have the privilege of digging deeper into our Sunday messages. I am Tammy DeLau, and today I am joined with Pastor David Baxley and Pastor Steve Musto, and we're back.
We're back.
It's like so.
Summer hiatus?
Something, I don't know. All right.
Break.
Yep.
Yeah.
So let's just share quickly highlight of the summer. What was your highlight, David?
Oh man, mine was we had so much family time.
Okay.
It was just, and we love to be on the water and got a lot of time on the water. My son was tubing like crazy. His friends were coming with us.
I think you were on the water more this summer than the other summers.
Yeah, absolutely. More than any summer we have ever been. And so that was really special and fun and, creating those moments, memories. Yeah.
So for me, we did a lot of fun things, but probably the highlight was our Caleb got married. So a fun wedding, and it was magical. And the night of the wedding just happened to be a fest of that town. And so we're in this place that looks like a castle, and all of a sudden fireworks start going off. So it just was perfect.
A castle?
So, yeah. Well, it was called the Dousman House, but it had a castle feel.
That's so cool.
It was really cool. It was every little girl's dream.
The fireworks were unrelated to the wedding.
Unrelated, but no one would know
for some
that.
other event.
It looked like I bought them fireworks, and I did not.
You should have I hope you took credit.
Yeah, I would have like, hey
congratulations,
guys,
everybody.
surprise!
Mom and Dad love you so much.
Yes. No, it was awesome. So I feel like you're going to trump our news, but how about you?
Yeah, mine, I guess I'll slip it into the summer. It was technically, it's in September.
Okay.
But
No, you can't share it.
yeah, that's right. But just barely, on the 3rd of September, our first grandchild was born, a grandson named Parker, and he's doing great. Mom's doing great. Dad's doing great. Everybody's okay. The cat that lives in the house is not sure what's going on. The cat is kind of an elderly cat.
Okay.
She's like 17, and she's very used to life a certain way. So the cat is now like, I don't know what this creature is that is roughly my size and is taking up everybody's attention, and they're not looking at me. So outside of that, everything is great.
Everything is great. Awesome. Yeah. That's so fun. Yeah. All right. So I love to do a flyover because it kind of helps me. So I'm going to just do a quick flyover of our summer. We spent the summer in a Kings series looking at the kings of Israel, the kings of the Northern Kingdom and the Southern Kingdom. Realized Northern Kingdom never had a good one. No. Southern Kingdom had some that looked like they were doing okay. But ultimately, we were looking to see God's sovereignty in the midst of the summer. Before we jump into what we're doing next, I know you kind of wrestled with the Kings, wondering if it would be long. Like, tell us about the Kings series and what you were thinking.
Summers are notoriously hard in teaching and preaching world.
Yep.
And they're hard because people are in and out. Okay, so this is under the guise of pastors that think about things that nobody else does, and we're way more concerned about this than anybody else is. But we actually think about, how is this all going to hang together? How is the series going to hang together? What if somebody misses? Is it going to be okay? So what makes summers difficult is if you do a series like in a book, and it all has to connect in some way, and somebody checks out for multiple weeks, they're going to miss.
Like they're lost? Is that what you're afraid of?
Yeah, it's kind of like you miss a huge chunk or like this major mile mark, and maybe it's not that big a deal. Maybe we just overthink it, but in my mind, that's how it works. So I like to do series in the summer where people can be a little bit in and out.
So maybe they're standalone a little bit?
Yeah, I guess so. So I looked at the King series and I said, I don't know that anybody's going to like this. Maybe I'm just the only one who likes the kings of Israel and finds fascinating things in their stories.
Okay. Well, David, what have you learned about what people have thought? Because that's not what people loved it. Right?
I think I've been blown away. Hearing the amount of people that not only enjoyed it, but are like, wow, I am learning something. Man, God is showing me things about myself. God is teaching me about things he wants to do in my life. I mean, not just from a summer series, but even the topic of it. Praise God.
Yeah.
Like, it's really encouraging.
So thank you for loving the Kings,
Yeah,
because
I
we
know.
as your body loved the Kings this summer.
And I actually was we were 3/4 of the way through the summer before I started to hear a little trickle of, I'm really enjoying this series. So I didn't know. And I was still like every week going, I don't know if this is landing. Is anybody getting anything out of this? I'm not sure. So it was good to hear that.
Yeah. And then super fun, because last week you shared with us the true King, the King that we're all longing to serve and to walk alongside. So now we're starting a new series. I believe we're entitling it The Upside Down Kingdom.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
I haven't seen the bumper yet. I'm excited about that.
Yeah, it's cool.
So is it?
Yeah.
So just Jesus being that King that we're all longing for, what that looks like. You're going to spend lots of weeks, guys, just in 3 books of Matthew, correct? Are we going to be from 5 through 7?
Yeah. 5 through 7 of Matthew.
I am so excited.
Yeah.
So why don't I start with just reading the passage that you'll be in this summer. So Matthew 5, verses 1 through 6. When he saw the crowds, he went up on the mountain, and after he sat down, his disciples came to him. Then he began to teach them, saying, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for the kingdom of heaven is theirs. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the humble, for they will inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled."
So traditionally this is called the Sermon on the Mount. And the reason it's the Mount is because of what you just read. He saw the crowds, he went up on the mountain, and after he sat down, his disciples came to him. So what this is a staff meeting. You got to think of it like a staff meeting. Jesus is calling his disciples to him, but he's already popular. He's already done things, miracles. He's been at it just a little while. He's begun to, the disciples have been called. Some of the disciples have been with him for a little while. Some are brand new. So the team is assembled, and now he is going to instruct them. And in those days, whenever there was a popular rabbi, whatever, you didn't have any private moments. And so if you were out in public and you sat down to do anything, people would gather around. And that's what's going on. So he sits down to teach his disciples, and people gather around as well, just people who are passing by, whatever. What's this guy talking about?
So I know you always say, both of you, this was not written to us, but for us. So this sermon really was for the 12, for the disciples.
Yeah, I think that is how it is being framed to us.
Okay.
But it is, first, there's debate about whether we should see it as a holistic sermon,
right?
Or whether it's a string of things that Jesus taught in many sermons over the years of his ministry that Matthew put together here for a reason. And that reason we can come back to in a minute. But the other part is it intended just because he calls the disciples to him, he can teach you, is it really intended just for the disciples? Probably not, because it forms the foundation of all that Jesus is going to teach in his entire ministry. He's giving us a completely new, what I'm going to say in the message this weekend is he's installing entirely new software.
Okay.
It's going to change everything. This is not just about, tweak this, tweak that. This is, we're going to turn the knobs on some belief systems, and you got this right, but not really. That's not what he's doing. He's installing an entirely new way, different way of seeing the entire world. And it's what God had intended at the beginning, but now it has gotten twisted to be just about rules and regulations. And Jesus says, okay, so we need to get back to what it was and what God intended.
But it's not just what God intended. In a sense, the new update is that God's initial covenant, which is, we were talking a lot about the covenantal relationship, throughout the summer, and the Kings and what was being broken is essentially now broken. And Jesus is ultimately coming and saying covenant 2.0. And it's not just this nation of Israel. It is all of humanity that is about to be invited into this. This is the entire new way of thinking. It's no longer the earthly kingdom of Israel and what that represents, but the kingdom of heaven, the spiritual kingdom that God is now bringing for all of humanity to join in.
Yep.
Good.
So Tammy, you're the Old Testament. You love the Old Testament, New Testament.
I have so much fun.
All right. So nothing is in the Bible by accident. Matthew says he went up on the mountain. Why is that important? Who else delivered the law from the mountain?
Moses.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you just do a compare and contrast of the two, God teaching his people from a mountain, it's very, very different.
Yeah.
So, I am a geek. I had so much fun studying for this one. So
okay. Well, you're going to like this. You ready?
Yep.
Okay. So what does God do if we go back, we rewind the tape and we go back to Exodus, really all the Old Testament, we do sort of a walkthrough. What we've got is people going down to Egypt for 400 years and then being set free. How does God set them free? By passing through the water. He parts the Red Sea. They pass through the water. He calls a deliverer. They pass through the water. They come to the promised land. On the way there, Moses goes to the mountain, comes down with the law, delivers the law to the people. All right. So David brought in for a landing all the kings of Israel. At the end of the kings of Israel and Judah is carried off into Persia and Babylon, but eventually Persia. Yep. They begin returning as the Old Testament ends, and we go into the 400 silent years. So there's that 400 again.
Oh, man. That's so cool.
Ready?
I'm there. Okay, I'm so there.
So Jesus, let's go to the story of Jesus.
Yeah.
So a deliverer is born in Exodus, and a king tries to kill him.
Yep.
What happens when Jesus is born?
Herod killed all baby boys 2 and under.
Yeah, so where do they go?
They were in Egypt.
Yeah, they go to Egypt. So out of Egypt, I have called my son. And so now the deliverer comes from Egypt, and what does he have to do? He has to pass through the water. He's baptized by John the Baptist. Yep. And then, but he goes into the wilderness first, remember, just as the people did when they wander in the wilderness for 40 years. He goes into the wilderness to be tempted by Satan, only he passes the test.
So I know as a parent, Andy would always say to me, did you say it 2,000 times? And you have 7 children. So have you said it 14,000 times? When I would get upset with that, why do they not know? They should pick their socks up or whatever it would be. Does God repeat these things because we're his children and we need repetition? Because there's so much repetition looking at the two, which is, he's such a good father.
He is. So part of it is repetition. Part of it is just God's really cool.
He is really cool.
Just amazing.
Yep.
He's so creative.
Yep.
And he can do this stuff. So in great literature, you see this in great literature, where this theme gets repeated and the whole, so God repeats these themes. And the more you read the Bible is bottomless. The more you read it, the more you see these themes repeating of like, oh, here's this deliverance. Here's this thing. Here's this water thing again.
Here's 400 years and 400 years.
Here's a mountain. God calls people on the mountain and the law is passed and God speaks to people on a mountain. Look, he speaks to people on the mountain with Elijah. Look, he speaks to the people on the mountain through Moses. Look, he speaks to people on the mountain through Jesus and delivers the law. And so the law that God has handed down, the law of Moses, has in many ways gotten twisted, but in other ways, it was always driving to this. So this is, David's right, this is covenant 2.0. This is, Jesus did not come to, he's going to tell us in the Sermon on the Mount, I didn't come to push the law out. I came to fulfill it. So this is the fulfillment of the law that was started on that. So those are the little threads.
So you shared the threads. I saw the differences. So the people on Mount Sinai were afraid, and they're standing back, and they're like, Moses, you go.
Right.
The people,
because they can't approach the mountain.
Yeah.
Because you can't approach God.
Right.
You see it. That's right. You can't approach God. Why not? Because there is no way of coming into God's presence. How do we come into God's presence?
Through Jesus.
Through Christ. So here's the one
so
that
we
gets
see it.
He gets called. We call, come to me, and God is with us. The Emmanuel has now come, and so now come to me on the mountain.
Yeah.
And now you can draw near.
And the people draw near so much.
And I will draw near to you.
Yeah. And then the thunderous voice of the Lord on Mount Sinai, and then just a man preaching.
Yeah.
I geeked out. I had a lot of fun.
The gentle voice of Christ.
Yeah.
And so when Jesus says, when he goes to be baptized, and John the Baptist, you guys, we've all baptized people. There's this moment. Nobody else on the shore can hear what you're saying. Nobody outside, the tub can hear what you're saying. You can say something to the person that you're about to baptize. And so usually we say something like, when person is really tall and we're in the tub, it's like, bend your knees. Or else you're going to hit your head on the tub. Don't do the ironing board thing, So you can say anything. So John the Baptist has this moment with Jesus where he leans over to Jesus and he goes, wait. You should be baptizing me. Why am I baptizing you? And Jesus says, we have to do this to fulfill righteousness. We have to do this to be obedient. We have to do this because it has to be like it was. I have to pass through the water. Just like as soon as I come out of the water, I have to go into the wilderness, just as the people did, because that's a test I have to pass as well. And it's so cool.
It is so cool.
It's so cool. Yeah.
So then what you guys are going to do for the next, I don't know how many weeks, I didn't count, is now we have this true king. We live in an upside down kingdom, and we're going to learn what it looks like to be part of that kingdom. That's what we're doing, right? That's what we're setting up.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the upside down kingdom is really the idea that everything we think is true is not. That we live in a physical realm, and we live in a place that is telling us constantly, this is what is real, this is what is true, this is what is important, this is what is vital, this is what you should spend your life on. And when Jesus said, I came to fulfill the law, he's not saying that none of those things exist. He's saying none of those things are worth spending your life on. And so when you read the Sermon on the Mount all the way through, he's going to talk about the things that occupy. What are the things that are most important in our world? Get power, get money, get attention for yourself, climb the ladder, do all, make sure everybody's listening to you. Be all you can
be. The army tells you that.
So Jesus says, actually, the ones, and this is what he says in the Beatitudes, actually, the rich are poor. And the poor are rich. You think that the rich are the most important. Actually, that's not true. So everything that we know to be this really important is turned upside down. There's been a lot of violence in the last couple of weeks and different things, different shootings and whatever in our world. That's power. Because in our world, you can exert power and control over someone by taking their life. Jesus says, you lay down your life. You lay down your life for those. You want to see what real power is? It's for it's the person who loves me enough to lay down their life for me and for others. So that's upside down from our world. I take your life, I exert power over you in our world.
And he not only taught this, he lived it. He was the upside down king.
He was.
Right? Like that was what we were kind of talking about last week, how he was missed for who he really was because of all the expectations of how they wanted a king to come and establish and do things in a way that was power driven, revenge driven, determined. dealing with all these people finally and correcting them to be what they're supposed to be. So we are now on top. And he demonstrated who he truly was as a king in death. And he's in a way, the death and the hope of what God was going to accomplish in the resurrection is how we're invited to live in the upside down kingdom, a dying to ourselves, a dying to all these things with the confidence that God is going to resurrect what is good to accomplish the great things for his kingdom far beyond what we could perceive as what greatness is.
Jesus is the Lion of the tribe of Judah, but he is the Lamb that was slain.
And again, John the Baptist. Behold, John has just come to get baptized. Bring clarity what I'm talking about. John says, behold the Lamb of God.
Yes, but he's the King of Judah.
Yes.
I
love. Yes, I'm with you. I
it's
love
so
it.
cool.
There's the beautiful tension.
It is a beautiful tension, and we will. So we're gonna, continue all of this in the spring, even because we're gonna go through Revelation in the spring, and we're gonna look at. So there's so much imagery in Revelation, and we don't know what to do with all the imagery. So what is that? And we're gonna find similar things happening where Jesus is talking about this kingdom that's upside down. But in Revelation, what we begin, and we see the same thing. We see this money and power and all the things at work in the world, and then we see God's kingdom come, and the people of God's kingdom are the best servants. They're the ones who love the best. They're the ones who serve the best. And then when God shows up on the scene, when Jesus returns, he returns. Yes, he is the slain lamb, but he returns as the conquering king. And that is where we see real power and real authority and real life.
And what's so important about that is when we read the teachings of Jesus and we try to do what Jesus is going to do in the future now, is when we keep missing his kingdom right now. We keep trying to get that kingdom to show up in all these worlds right now. Have that power rule. And what you just spoke to and what Jesus is doing throughout this sermon, but his whole ministry is, I'm not coming right now to make the power show up to accomplish all these changes you want to see happen to everyone else. I'm coming for you to receive my power to live differently than all those people, to show them who I am. It's not to change all these power structures, but to live differently within them to show how different my kingdom is.
Are you saying, David, that in some ways we're no different than the Israelites who wanted a king that looked like the nations around them? And so when we read God's word and we want the kingdom that we see in Revelation to be now, we're demanding it now. Is that what you're saying? Some level?
Yeah, and I think if we get into this, that's the heart of the Beatitudes is to point and say, look, this is actually how we should be.
What our kingdom looks like.
This is actually how it's almost an inviting us to look in at these people that we think don't get it, that don't have what should be, to say, no, actually, you should long for that. Because that's where the kingdom of God is found. That's where you're going to meet this radically different world that God is inviting you into. It's not going to be in these things that you define. It's in looking into these people, into the world that they're in, and realizing that is where I'm going to start finding it.
So in the meekness, in the grieving, in the searching for righteousness,
the powerless,
in the humility, and
yes.
Okay.
So the words of Jesus are ridiculous. They're ridiculous.
Thus saith the pastor.
Yeah, clip it seriously. Blessed are those who mourn.
Yeah, I've been with some friends who mourn, and it doesn't look fun.
Who would do that? Who would say that? Blessed are the poor in spirit. I don't want to be poor in spirit. I don't want to be poor in anything. I want wealth. I want to be wealthy in spirit. I want to be wealthy in all things. Blessed are the humble, for they will inherit the earth. The humble don't inherit the earth.
Humble get taken advantage of.
No, absolutely.
Yeah. That's right.
The ones who inherit the earth are the ones who go and take what they want.
King of the mountain.
Okay, so this is the upside down kingdom. This is what people don't understand about Jesus. When we start living by the world's rules, when we're living by rules that the world has made up. We're not living according to the kingdom of our Heavenly Father. And so Jesus is trying to recalibrate us, to reinstall that software, to say, you're thinking like a human being. You're thinking like an earthbound person. You're not thinking like you belong in the kingdom of heaven. You need to start thinking like you are a citizen of heaven.
Yeah, because it's not just living by those rules, it's defining what is successful, defining what is blessed, what is the thing to long for. We have to, and that's the word. I think something, as I've come back to this over and over again, is he's like, I'm trying to get you to pursue something radically different, not just see the world differently. I want you to pursue something radically different and know that in pursuing this is actually, you actually are now success. You actually are now blessed. You actually are flourishing, and in a way that you won't actually probably start to realize until you're in it. You won't realize you can flourish. We look around and see, and we desire what other people have, thinking, look how much they must be flourishing. I want that. And he's like, no, I'm actually trying to turn your direction. Look over here, because you can't see the flourishing. But if you move this direction the way I'm trying to lead you and take you, you will begin to realize there is great flourishing here in the kingdom of heaven.
Yeah, or we are envious of them flourishing in ways that don't matter.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
They don't make a difference.
Yes.
Everything is upside down. So it's Jesus with Pilate, where Pilate says, don't you understand? Don't you understand that I have the authority to put you to death or to let you live? And Jesus says, he doesn't say you idiot, but there's this implication. He looks at Pilate.
Well, if you read between the lines,
you have no authority over me whatsoever, except what's been given to you from what you think
the authority,
you know.
The authority you have, actually, I gave you, so you would do this.
Do you think you know what authority is? You think this little thing that you run, this little Roman Empire, this little corner of it, you think this is authority? You have no idea what authority is.
Yeah.
You don't even see it. You brought up the idea of blessed. So let's talk about blessed for a second.
I kind of went there.
Because the Beatitudes kick off the Sermon on the Mount, and it's the blessed are. And there has been so much discussion about what that word means. And so I want to talk about that a little bit, because first of all, there's no good translation for the Greek.
Right.
For that word blessed. We say blessed. Yeah. Some people have said happy.
Happy. Yeah. I've heard happy.
Yeah. And there's not a great a one-for-one translation.
Right.
In every language, there's words that don't translate well. And this is just one of those from Greek. And we were done a disservice, I think. Robert Schuller, years ago, probably in the 60s or 70s, wrote a book called The Be Happy Attitudes.
Yeah.
And it was based on what was very popular at the time, Norman Vincent Peale's Power of Positive Thinking, where you just have to bring, turn that frown upside down. You just have to bring positivity to the mix. So blessed are those who mourn. So when someone says, I understand that you just lost someone close to you, we have to come up with a positive, but it's going to be great. And we put that smile on our face, and that's not in the text at all.
No, this is really mourn.
Yeah, this is not that. This is not about a false happiness or trying to turn our hearts away from a tough experience. Jesus lamented. We need to lament. We need to mourn.
He's not looking and saying, "Hey, you're fine. Hey, it's fine." Like, I think that's our response to all this. Like, yeah, but it's okay. Yeah, he's not, the blessed here is not trying to say, but it's okay. That's not the heart behind this.
Correct.
Yeah.
But these aren't really a state of doing. They're more a state of being, aren't they? Mm-hmm. I mean, I can't just do humility. It's going to come.
Yeah.
It's either there or not there, right?
Yeah.
I cannot understand the holiness of God and my depravity like that. I can't just decide I'm going to study up on that. Like it's a being. Am I correct in thinking that? So
yeah, and Jesus preaching humility. Humility is not a valued commodity in their world. It's way more valued in our world.
Humility?
Yeah, than it is in their world. Humility is weakness in there. You weren't humble to anybody. You're exposing your soft underbelly if you were humble.
Wow, my brain would have thought the opposite.
Yeah, no.
So, does that make sense?
But what do we want from our leaders? We don't value someone who gets up, the number one star in the world. We don't want them to be cocky. Mm-mm. We don't want them to say, right. Get away from me. We love the stories when they're approachable. Mm-hmm. That is not something you would have gotten in the ancient world. This is why Jesus is a revolution. And so humility would not have been a valued commodity. And so Jesus preaching to be humble would itself have been off-putting to a lot of people.
So he was asking them or telling them they needed to be part of his kingdom with him being king. They had to look like something that would have repulsed them.
Yes. And it was indeed the Christians. The Christians were in the Roman Empire, Christians were seen as these oddities for multiple reasons. Yeah. But one of the big ones was they serve people. Slaves serve people. They were slaves. They were slaves to Jesus. Slaves are the ones who serve people. You make people serve you. You don't serve willingly. When the plague sweeps through Rome, it's the Christians who go into the plague infested areas and care for the people who are there, not because they want to. Nobody wants to go treat plague victims. It's because they feel this responsibility to serve those who are there because their Savior taught them to do that. And the Romans don't understand this and say, these people are crazy. And this is part of the upside down kingdom. So this is what we're going to unpack.
So I know you had started talking about kind of like a download or an upgrade or new software. Yeah. I had my iPad filled and I had to get rid of things to receive the download that needed to happen. I feel like
doggone it. You had to share that on the podcast. You told me that.
On the side.
I could have stolen it for this weekend. Shoot.
But as you're talking, that's what I'm thinking of. I think because we have walked with people through practicing the way, what do I need to get rid of? What do we need to get rid of so that we can receive these things? Like, I just think there's something huge there.
Wow. Yeah. So sure, Jesus is doing that everywhere he goes, isn't he? Mm-hmm. We marvel at the stories of the things that he did, and the woman at the well, and the woman caught in adultery, and these other things. We've got the disciples breaking the Sabbath law. There are these moments where it's like, well, apply the law, because the law is most important. It's black and white. And Jesus says there's a value that's higher. Mm-hmm. There's a value that's higher here than just a black or white fundamentalist interpretation of what God has commanded.
And so on that same note, because I think I love this section of scripture, as we go through this, I think there could be a temptation for those that start to engage in it, and a similar temptation that was when we went through practicing the way, that like, here's all the list of things you're supposed to do, and so as we come to this at the root of all of this, before we even talk about that, ultimately Jesus is saying, are you willing to shift your way of thinking? Like, I look at this, I'm a roller coaster going through this in my life. I know all these things are true. I can look where I'm missing it. I can look where I'm failing. Jesus is not saying, make sure you get all your stuff together so you can say you're one of my disciples. What he's saying is, my disciples are willing to let God begin to change the way they think, so that when they're in these situations, they can hear the Spirit begin to say, oh, but this time let's do this. Yeah. Oh, but this time let's do this. And so that's what we're walking as a church. We're not walking another list of things to do. Practicing the way was to remind us, hey, what are the things keeping us from Jesus? Mm-hmm. And I can't get to that one yet, but I can start doing this one. And that's going to help me get to this next one. Mm-hmm. That's what this is as well. This is just going to help us walk with Jesus, and he knows where we're going to miss it. Yeah. So we can just grow closer with him and honestly find the flourishing of the kingdom of heaven.
Man, we could do this forever, but I think we need to stop. So thank you guys.
Me too, have
It is
to,
so,
want to.
I know. It's so fun to be back. So thank you guys. And thank you so much for joining us. Have a great week. Bye-bye.